Hello, and welcome to another OlafurPlays. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're taking a look at the game Hearthstone. It's in beta right now, and I just got into the beta. I've been playing around a bit in constructed mode and been going through the tutorials and such, and I thought I would do some arena. Now, in arena you get to choose one of 3 randomly selected heroes, and then you get to draft a deck from random cards. The warrior has a lot of enrage abilities and does a lot of damage. The shaman has some totems, which are free minions with some extra abilities. And the paladin is a bit more of a defensive character and has the ability to summon nearly endless weenie minions. So I think we're gonna be going with the paladin.
I will fight with honor.
Now, pick a card to add to your deck.
Now, let's see. My thought going into this is that I want to try to build synergy with the cards I've already picked. We'll have to see how this deck turns out, if that's a good idea. This is my first ever arena run, so we'll just have to see how it works out. Now, I don't really have any spells yet. I don't know if I will be having any healing, otherwise the Light Warden I think is a pretty good card. So we're just gonna go with a pint-sized summoner to start off. Let's see, Chilmuneri is a pretty decent creature. The Jungle Panther has stealth, so can't be targeted. Always good. But I think we're gonna go with the Crucible Champion, because we need to start off with some nice weapons and has a little bit of healing there. Now, the Youth of Brewmaster, it's really good to get creatures back into your hand to replay battle cries. But we don't really have any battle cries at the moment. Don't have any spells, so I don't think we're going to go with the Dalaran Mage. The Fairy Dragon, though, is a pretty decent creature. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers, but it can, however, be targeted by battle cries, which is important to remember. So yeah, we're gonna pick that. Holy Light, well, it's a big self-heal and can be useful, but often if you're in that much trouble, then you're probably already dead. Might pick that. Acidic Swamp Ooze is just a great creature. When you're going up against things like paladins and warriors, can even be used against shamans and hunters. They have some weapons sometimes. Loot Hoarder, I don't know if it's really a favorite of mine. Would much prefer a Leopard Gnome. I think we're gonna go with the Swamp Ooze. Now we get some interesting cards here. Flesh-Eating Ghoul is a really good minion. Especially in a paladin deck, because you have a lot of small minions that you can sacrifice to gain extra attack. Raging Worgen, also good, but I don't really have anything to trigger that enrage. The enrage triggers when it takes damage and it gets a second attack and a +1 to its attack value, so it's a good creature. Stormwind Knight, it's okay, but we're gonna go with Flesh-Eating Ghoul. Mostly because it synergizes really well with the Paladin class ability. Let's see. Dark Iron Dwarf has a buff there. Don't think you can give it to itself, which is unfortunate. So, but in a Paladin deck, like I mentioned earlier, we're probably always gonna have some small creatures. Noble Sacrifice can be good. It's a little bit random with the secrets, but yeah. Blessing of Wisdom gives card draw, and we don't have any card draw, so we're gonna go with that. No. Don't really like the Bloodthorn Raptor in a Paladin deck. Beasts are best in Hunter decks, and it doesn't really have any additional abilities there, so Taunt or Stealth. We don't really have any 1-drops that are creatures. I think we're gonna go with the gold share for him. Now let's see. Another acidic swamp boost is always a good idea. Light's Justice is actually a pretty decent weapon because it is a 1-drop. You can drop it on turn 1 and you can take care of some 2/1 creatures and 1/1 creatures. River Crocolisk, not great. Again, it's a beast, doesn't have any abilities. Good in the hunter deck, but that's not really what we're after here. We're gonna go with that weapon. Don't want to take a second Light's Justice. It's a, I think it's a decent card, but don't really want to double up on it. I'm actually kind of thinking that I should have taken my other option earlier, but you know, you never know what the next 3 cards are. So, Windfury Harpy, really good. Fang Creeper, also good. It's a nice solid taunt, and we're a bit lacking in taunt, so we're gonna take that. Get a rare here. Not the best rares. We have the Ancient Watcher, which is basically useless unless you combo it with something, so we're probably just gonna dismiss it outright. Angry Chicken. I have some ideas to get this useful in like a hunter deck, but yeah, not in arena and not in a paladin deck. Mana Addict. Don't have many spells, so it's not really a good pick either, but yeah, we're gonna go with it. Now, Leopard Gnome, that's a good creature. It always does 2 damage to the enemy hero unless he silences it or polymorphs it or something like that, and then he has to waste a really good card to get rid of his 1-drop, so really like it. Probably the best 1-drop in the game at the moment. Chillwind Yeti might be something. We already have 2 weapons. I'm not gonna go 2 weapon heavy, so we're gonna go with the Leopard Gnome. Now, Stormpike Commando can be good. I'm not big on these battle cries that do damage to creatures, but can be useful, but I haven't really gotten into using them a lot. When I've built my decks for Constructed now, I haven't used any of those. Loot Hoarders, a little bit of a card draw. But we have quite a decent low mana costs cards at the moment, so I think we're gonna go with the Stormpike Commando. Now we have a Windfury Harpy again. This is good in the hunter deck, but not here. And we already have a True Silver Champion, so need to get some more high cost creatures. Now, second Flesh Eating Tool might actually be good. Storming Champion, really good if you have a lot of small minions, and it's almost guaranteed that I will be running that sort of deck, so we're gonna take that. Mad Bomber. Yeah. I know a lot of people really like the Mad Bomber, but it's not a card for me. It's way too round. Reckless Rocketeer more or less always dies, so can be useful, but it's not really. It's not something I would want to go with. I'm actually gonna pick a Holy Light here. There are some situations where I can think that can be really good. It's offering me another Holy Light. I mean, what is this? The 4 or something? Oh. Really wants me to go with some healing. Might have actually gotten away with it. Light Warden at the start. Now, this is a bad choice. Might actually go with a second Holy Light, because I don't need more low cost drops, not low cost minions. I mean, I can get a 1/1 for 2 mana as my hero ability. And this taunt, it's just not very good. If it was like a 2/4 or a cost 1 less, then sure, but yeah, more of a healing don't really want. But yeah, you have to pick from the cards you're dealt, so hopefully we'll get some very big series. Silverhand Knight is a really good card for Arena. It's a 4/4, so it can avoid a lot of the nonsense that priests can dish out, and you get a 2/2. All of this for 5 mana. So I'm actually gonna pick that. The Dragonly mechanic, very similar, but I think the Silverhand Knight is just a little bit better. Argent Protector, really good card. Hand of Protection I also find is pretty good. Both of these give a minion Divine Shield. This is, in my opinion, clearly better because you also get a minion out of it for just 1 more mana. So. And Silver Moon Guardian, yeah, Divine Shield is always good, especially in a Paladin deck. You can, there's a minion, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but he eats up the Divine Shields to buff himself. That's probably not something we'll be getting, so we're gonna go with the Protector. Arcane Golem, yeah. Giving your opponent extra mana, yeah, that doesn't really sit right with me. Mana Addict, not great. Twilight Drake has a 4 attack, can avoid a lot of the priest stuff. Used to be a lot better earlier in the beta before I got in. But it can potentially get pretty high in health if you have enough cards. So we're gonna go with that. Would have wanted to take a 3rd Flesh-Eating Ghoul and just try to pump them up, but I cannot pass up on that Consecration. We need some mass removal, and it's just some good removal. Yeah, this is pretty useless. It can be good in certain situations, but usually you can't predict it that well, and they'll usually attack you with something weak if they see that you're dropping down secrets. We have some extra attack there for small minions, which might be a good idea because we're actually building something of a weenie deck. Or some more removal and card draw, all in one. Now we're gonna stick to the plan, build some synergy, get that real leader. Silence is always a good idea. I find that I want to have at least 1 silence in my decks, so we're gonna go with the Spellbreaker. Frostwolf Grunt, not that great. I mean, he's a 2/2 for 2 and he has taunt. There are better taunts in the game. Magma Rager is utterly useless. I've had people play it up against me when I've been playing my mage in Constructed, and you know, you just ping it off immediately. It's just a waste of a card and a waste of mana, in my opinion. It's just too big of a threat. Geomancer, well, we don't really have any spells that do spell damage, so we're not gonna do that. Shield Bearer, although it's not a great taunt, but seeing as how this is Arena, we might just go with it anyway. Second Argent Protector, definitely. Here we get some good cards. Divine Fervor is just great, especially if you're going up against something like a deck built around the Twilight Drake, or a Warlock who's really big on the card draw. Equality can also be really good in a weenie deck. You just reduce everyone's health to 1 and then you do some really good trades. But the Knife Juggler is just an awesome card, especially with this kind of deck where sort of haphazardly thrown together, and yeah, we're just gonna take that. That actually triggers as well of the Paladin's class ability, so we're gonna be able to dish out some damage with the Knife Juggler. Unless of course they instantly kill it, which is a big chance. A little bit of healing there. Again, we could have built some sort of healing deck. But it's not really good to focus on 1 card, and that's, you know, especially a 1-drop. It's not very good on turn 1. and that's really when you want to play your 1-drops, and we have loads of 1 and 2 drops. Flesh eating ghoul though, you know, we were just talking about how I would want a second one, well, a third one of these, so we're gonna pick that one. Booty Bay Bodyguard, yeah, it's a decent taunt, but it's not really one I would go with. So, ghoul it is. Razorfen Hunter or Acidic Swamp Ooze. Too many 2-drops. This mana curve isn't looking too great. But we're gonna go with that second ooze just because people might get cocky after you drop the first one, and then you can shatter their weapon with the second one. War Golem, 7 mana for a 7/7 with nothing special. I mean, it's okay, but I'd much rather take another Stormwind champion. Stormpike Commando, yeah, not really fond of those battle cries, but cool word. Blessing of Might though, with all these small creatures, I would have preferred a Blessing of Kings, which gives +4/+4, but a Blessing of Might, you can get a decent trade out of it. And now we get our final card, which is an epic. We don't need more healing. It really wants me to go all out on this healing, so we're not, I mean, we have two massive heals already. Of course it does have the card draw as well, but still. Mountain Giant is not great. I mean, it can be really good, but we don't have a lot of card draw. Not enough to get up in those numbers anyway. Might work in conjunction with the Twilight Drake. Yeah, I'd rather have the giant that triggers off minions. And then we have the Faceless Manipulator, which is really good if someone else drops something really good. Otherwise it's a 3/3 or whatever you copy. So yeah, we're gonna go with the Faceless Manipulator and just copy other people's Mountain Giants instead. Well, that's our little deck there. I'm not super confident about this. I mean, I can try to blame on what cards we were dealt, but I'm guessing that you guys watching there will probably have 1 or 2 opinions about my picks. But, you know, we'll just have to see how this holds up. I'll be posting this video with the draft of my Paladin deck as a separate video from the gameplay videos. So just pop up over to the next video and you'll get to see me in action. And as always, if you like this content, then please press like. It doesn't cost you anything, but it will mean the world to me. And if you want to see more videos of Hearthstone, Infinite Crisis and some other multiplayer games coming up, then subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.